I got my start. I joined the Service Bureau company, which was owned by IBM when I was hired. And by the time I actually started work, it was sold to Control Data. If anybody remembers Control Data, it's no longer a company anymore, but I was there for 10 years until they pretty much went out of business. One of the executives that we had running our division said, the PC will never take off. So as you can tell, the company didn't last very long. But what's really, really interesting about that experience I got was, during those 10 years, what we sold was time-sharing services. And if anybody understands what time-sharing was, basically, there were IBM mainframes sitting in Cleveland in the basement of a bank building, and we sold time on those computers. And so you would use a dumb terminal and type, and it would send it out, and then it would slowly come back. And it started out at 10 characters per second. So if you can imagine typing at 10 characters per second, when it jumped to 15, everybody was jumping up and down, and it increased 50%. In today's world, we have 50 meg, 100 meg internet connections that are, thousands and thousands and thousands times faster than that. So the whole world of technology has changed. The interesting part of time sharing was, if you understand anything about cloud, it's no different. So now the whole thing has just come full circle from a centralized environment to a decentralized environment where you had the power on your desktop to back to a centralized environment. They're doing everything in the cloud. The cloud's really a big thing. You don't need any intelligence on your desktop anymore. You'll use a thin client. You use an iPad. You use your iPhone. You'll use whatever device that they come up with next, and it won't have a lot of intelligence in it because all the processing will be done somewhere else. So that's a little bit about my background. After that company went out of business, Control Data, I decided to start my own company, and that was 23 years ago, last March. We're been in the Howard County all that time, and we service a variety of different clients with a whole bunch of different services that we provide. I'll touch on a few. But basically our clients range from the Baltimore Orioles, who have been a client of mine for about 10 to 12 years, all the way down to small doctor's office, law firms, nonprofits, places like that. So anybody that needs some type of computer assistance, needs help, we pretty much will find a way to provide that help. Either we'll do it directly or we'll find a partner that can take care of them for them. Our sweet spot is somewhere around 20 to 150 PCs. We do smaller, we'll do 3, 4, 5, but for the most part we kind of work in the market of 20 to 150 PCs. So that's a little bit about my company. We have a number of engineers. Most of them have been with me more than 10 years, which is pretty unusual in this business. Engineers tend to come and go. So I'm pretty proud of what we have. And I think our clients, if you check out our website, you'll see the testimonials. Our clients are here to stay, so they're not jumping around on us. So today I just wanted to talk to you about how the industry is changing a little bit. The fear of IT that people have, they're not sure what's on their desktop, how to take care of it. They're not sure what it means to have a virus, what is malware, what are things like this, and how can you prevent some of this stuff. So that's really what I wanted to cover today, and we can take it anywhere from there that you'd like to. But let's jump right in. So what kind of problems are you all facing? Is anybody having any problems today?
Well, it seems like whenever Microsoft comes out with a big thing, big patch,
right?
Service pack, right after I install that, it's like, what?
Yep.
I swear they make things to install to make us have problems, to make us call them up or give them money.
They are in the business to sell, that's for sure. That's for sure. Anybody else having any ongoing problems? What kind of problems do you experience?
I think one of the biggest challenges I find with a user base that isn't necessarily highly technical,
right,
is the patches that are pushed down. You'll get the pop-up window saying you need to install this update, but yet you can get that with the virus too. And to teach the user when they should click that yes button and when they shouldn't.
Yeah.
And
wouldn't it be a lot easier if the user never was prompted and it was taken care of behind the scenes? That's what we're going to talk about today. That's how you can prevent that kind of stuff.
I think not so much a problem, just a fear. The ongoing, you know, am I doing the right thing? Am I protected? What am I not doing that I should be doing? So it's less of like, you know, an acute problem than kind of a chronic, you know, wondering.
Insecurity.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have a peace of mind. You don't have that, oh, I feel that everything's going the way it should be going. There's always something in the back of your mind. We have some customers who came to us and, you know, they would lose sleep at night worrying about whether they were secure. You know, accounting firms, legal firms, places like that are worried about their data. They're worried about, is it being backed up? Is it, you know, safe? Has it been hacked? You know, things that happen. So those are very common things. We'll talk about some of that today. Any other issues that people are having?
Well, I have a number of programs, and it seems like there's always this conflict between my contact management system talking to Outlook and I don't know, it drives me nuts. So I'm very curious about the cloud, and should I just go to the cloud and forget about all these issues? Do they go away? Do they not go away?
Those are big questions.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And in some cases they go away and some they don't. And there's the problem that you have with cloud today is that there's still a lot of fog around the cloud, okay? And one person's cloud is not another person's cloud. So you have to be very careful of what it is that you're doing. So you really need to understand where you're going. Some places you stick your data, you can't get it back, or it's not easily gotten back, okay? Because you don't know exactly where it is. Other places, you still have that same problem where my email's over here, or Microsoft's hosting that Exchange and Outlook, and my CRM's over here, and my, you know, backups over here. You know, it's still hard. So you have different types of cloud providers. You have integrators. You have aggregators. You have all kinds of things. So it's not a simple, let's go to the cloud. I mean, I know everybody's doing that, and the TV ads are, hey, let's go to the airport, and we're delayed, so we can sit there and we can do what we want, or we're in a coffee shop and we're putting our whole business plan together, and all of a sudden, you know, it's boom, it's done, you know.
Well, with Apple's announcement of whatever, the Lion, or
Yeah.
whatever they call it.
Yeah, but the whole thing of cloud is still changing on a day-to-day basis. So you just have to be careful what you're doing and who you're going to get locked into, and how locked are you to that? Because if something changes in 2 weeks, are you flexible enough to be able to move to that? So it's a really nice feature, because you can take your capital expenses and basically get rid of them, because it's all operating expense. It's all monthly. You pay like utility, just like you do your rent. So that's the nice attractive thing too. There's no upfront costs. There's a lot of things to it. So, but security and other things, just like, you know, what happened to their website, that's in the cloud, but it still got hacked anyway. So you have to be very careful about what you do. So these are pretty much the common types of problems that we run into, and hopefully can take care of in a proactive way instead of a reactive way. So how do you react when you have a problem? Some people just get frustrated. Some people yell at their computer, right? Some people throw other objects, right? A stapler or a chair or whatever. And then some people take it out on the computer, okay? So there is a frustration level. Everybody's frustration level is a little bit different. But pretty much everywhere we go, there's some pain. There's something that's going on in that organization. And IT seems to be one of those painful things that people do have. So when something breaks, who do you normally call now? And you have options on that, right? You can call a help desk in India. Okay, I'll tell you a little story that frustrated me, and I'm in the business. We're a large HP reseller. We sell servers and desktops. We sell a few printers, but we're not as big in the printer area. Well, our printer's having a problem. We have a huge 4-color, huge laser printer that does that newsletter that's there. And we're trying to get our newsletter out this week, and the printer's acting up. And so I had to call. Well, HP outsourced their desk to Costa Rica. So first off, I'm having a language barrier problem. Second off is they have to go through scripts. Even though I know what I'm doing, they still have to go through scripts. So you have to argue and fight and get mad in order to get escalated to the next level of help. They only want to send you the part, even though you have on-site support, because this is a customer replaceable part. Well, first off, it never says that anywhere in the warranty or the care pack that you buy. So they're sending me all these parts. We're having Jordan over there. He's our intern for the summer. He's trying to put them in, and they're on the phone, and you have this language barrier. Just a really, really frustrating thing, and I'm sure you all have experienced the same thing. Dell outsources their help desk to India, so. You can call Geek Squad or Geeks on Call. There's local franchises. There's other companies around. Typically, these types of companies have high turnover, so you're not getting the same person on an ongoing basis, and that can also be frustrating. There are lots of local computer guys who have, lost their job at a corporation and are now starting their own company, guys that do it on the side, things like that. So you have that option also. You can call your friend, right? It may not be your friend after several calls, but you can call your friend and they may be able to help you. Some employee's relative, their brother or whatever, you try to tap whatever resource you can. You can try to do it yourself. Okay? I'm sure many of you have tried that in the past and probably reached some frustration. Or you can hire a professional IT firm to take care of it on an ongoing basis. So, when you call, what happens when you call? You don't get an answer? You get voicemail. There's a promise to come as soon as possible, but then they don't show up and you have to call repeatedly. Can't get there till Wednesday evening because he has a full-time job. So you work during the day, but he can only work in the off hours. You get that foreign accent and that language barrier problem. And you get a professional that answers you on a support desk and already is aware of your problem because they're monitoring your system 24/7. They're already working on your problem before you even know you have a problem. And that's the kind of place that you want to get to. How long do you have to wait for that repair? Is it immediate? When you make the phone call, are you getting taken care of? Are you having to wait an hour for a call back? Is it 4 hours? Is it the next business day? In the case of hardware replacement, most people's warranty is next business day. So you're down for that day until you get that part or that technician comes to replace that part. So when you look at the warranties, if you have a critical piece of equipment, you can increase that warranty for very little cost to like a 4-hour response instead of the next business day. So it's one of the things you want to consider. If you have a critical email server and email is critical to you, and you lose a hard drive or you lose a motherboard or whatever, system board, you want to make sure you get it taken care of. For a couple of, maybe $100, $150, you can get a 4-hour response instead of the next business day. And they'll actually come on site and fix that for you. So those are things that you want to make sure that you consider. Is it several days before you get it taken care of? Is your business in pain during that time? Or in some cases, is it even longer? So what do you do while you're waiting? Do you use another computer? You have a laptop instead of a desktop? Do you go to Starbucks and steal their Wi-Fi and do your work? Do you work from home? Do you have remote access? Can you do it from there? Do you just wait for someone? Do you complain to people about your current IT guy? Do you search for a new company to help you? Do you lose time, money, and business? I'm sure you all can relate to some of that. When you call, who shows up? You might be able to relate to some of these people. And when he finally shows up, what happens? It takes his time diagnosing the problem because he doesn't know your system. So there's valuable time right there. Guess what? He's probably on the clock while he's doing that, right? So you're paying for his time to be there. He calls the office because he really doesn't understand what's going on because he's a junior engineer and he's only been with the company a few months and he needs to get someone else more experienced to help him. Once again, he's on the clock and he's costing you money. He makes excuses. He tries to sell you something additional. A friend of mine had a company, I won't name who it was, come out and work on his home PC. By the time it was done, they had replaced the hard drive and a CD-ROM or DVD-ROM in it and the memory. And he didn't know any better, and the bill was like $750, okay? You could have bought a new PC for that. So, you know, you just get caught up in the thing, I gotta get it fixed, and, you know, additional add-on sales and stuff. So you have to be careful. He leaves without solving the problem, saying, I don't know what it is, I gotta go back and research this some more, or I'll come back tomorrow, or whatever. So your problem's still not solved.
I mean, he takes the computer with him.
Very good, exactly. Takes it with him because he can take it back, okay? He presents you with a huge bill because all during that time, his hours were clicking, and that's how he gets paid. So, what we want to talk about today, is there a better way? Proactive, what we've been talking about is really break fix. And that is, when something's broken, what do? You pick up the phone and you call to get it fixed. So it's a break fix model. All IT companies prior to 3 or 4 years ago were break fix types of companies. They waited for the phone to ring. I had a staff of 15 people sitting there, and I wanted that phone to ring all day long because that's how I made money. About 4 or 5 years ago, the model changed to a proactive model. Now I don't want the phone to ring. I don't want any problems. I want them taken care of before they happen. Because if you have a problem, then you're frustrated. You're like the earlier slides. You're ready to throw the computer or throw objects or whatever. So, the whole different concept of the model. So the person that you're looking at for support, and you have that fear about, am I being covered and stuff, you want to find someone who is a proactive support person, not a break-fix person. And we'll talk about how you can find that and where you can find that. So, proactive IT managed services is the new game in town. It's been around for a while. It's now past the early adopter stage. People are understanding it. They're moving in that direction. They're accepting it. And it's been a big change in the industry. So it starts with a professional. And you'll see that these are different ones that I show. But basically, there's someone monitoring your system 24/7. They know what's going on. They're into your system. If there's an issue, they take care of it. Things happen behind the scenes that you're not aware of. Okay. What is managed services? Managed services that is really, you're taking the day-to-day responsibility of IT management, right? And you're really moving it from your organization to another organization. A lot like you might do with an accountant who does your books, or a law firm who does your contracts or other things. You're taking this day-to-day operation of IT, which you're really not experienced and knowledgeable in, and you're moving it to another company. Now, what's key here is they are accountable for what you do, but you still make the decisions. So they should be to you an advisor that says, okay, I'm going to take on these risks and these responsibilities, but I need you, when I present to you business cases, to make the business decision based on your level of risk. And what do I mean by that? If I take over a customer and they have an Exchange server that's critical to their business, and it's 5 years old, and it's running out of hard drive space, I will sit down with them and explain to them what is the risk of them losing that server, what is the risk of all this. And then I'm not going to tell them that they should definitely replace it. I'm going to say, can you accept the business risk of that server going down? And they may say, I don't have the funding for that for another 6 months or whatever. I will accept that risk. Let's try to do the best we can with it. And that's the kind of conversation that you want to have as a trusted advisor with your IT person. So it's key to remember that while they do the day-to-day stuff, you still are responsible for making the decisions and the management part of that. So. The other nice thing about managed services is it's a flat, fixed fee. It costs you the same, just like your rent and your lease. Every month it's the same. It doesn't matter if I spend 1 hour there or if I spend 50 hours there. It's a fixed fee. So, I'm accepting the risks and the day-to-day management. You're accepting the business decision part of it. You're paying a flat fee for that. It can be either by device or by the service that you offer. So it depends on the different types of managed services firms as to how they price that. So they may say, okay, you know, up to 10 PCs is this price. Or they may say, for this service, for your organization, it's a flat fee of this. And we're going to provide A, B, C, D, and E. So let me really, this is a slide we got to take a little time on. Because when you go out and look for this kind of IT firm, and there's a number of them around, you want to make sure that you get all 5 of these. And so I want you to understand what each of the levels are. And the first level, the proactive support, is the one we're talking about, where someone actually manages and monitors and knows your system on a 24/7 basis. Okay? That doesn't mean that they're going to come in at 3 a.m. and, you know, take a key and unlock and go in and reboot a PC, but they're going to actually have the tools necessary to be able to get into your system, to have it monitor, to provide alerts, to do patching, to do all this stuff behind the scenes so the user doesn't have to do that. Today's technology with the vPro chip allows a company like mine, if a computer is turned off at night when they go home and I have a maintenance window scheduled at 2 a.m., I have the ability to come in, turn the PC on, go in, do my maintenance, and turn the PC off. Remotely. From India. No, I'm just kidding. But the point is, the tools that you have today, from my side, allow us to do things we could never have done 5 years ago. So it's incredible, and the technology is only getting better. So the being proactive and providing these types of services, spam management, you're all aware of that. It's a little hard to read these, I'm sorry about that. Maybe we should focus it a little bit. Desktop optimization. Our weekly maintenance on our desktops, we have, I don't know, close to 3,000 desktops that we're probably managing for clients. We go in and we defrag the hard drive. We go in and make sure everything's operational. We try to extend the length of that PC by 6 to 9 months. What's that do for your cash flow?
What would you say is the typical lifespan?
We're getting 4 to 5 years out of a PC. Yeah. It really is not a driving force of the hardware as much as it is the systems that you're running and the requirements of the software. Like Microsoft wants to get their extra money, right? So you know, it's all that kind of stuff. So if you want to go to the latest and greatest, and you're running something that's 5 years old, and you want to put, you know, Adobe Illustrator on it, it's only got 4, because it's running XP, it's limited to 4 gigs. You may have to go to a Windows 7 64-bit that allows you to go much higher than that in memory and everything else. So it's really a driving force more of what you're doing from an application point of view than it is the hardware. Another really important thing is remote backup. You shouldn't be doing your own backup anymore. Backup's cheap. You can do it online. It's automatically done. You get an alert every day. You get an email, whatever you want. It's just it's sent off-site, and you don't have to worry about it. I mean, you know, I've seen businesses, and one of my friends has a business in Missouri. He lost his whole business. Lost it. The tornado hit and it went up. There's a picture of it on his website. Totally backed up and running, and the next day, because he had everything online, backed up, and it was virtualized, he could operate his office out in the cloud. It costs pennies a day to do that. There's no reason you should be putting it on floppies or tapes or anything else anymore. Very, very simple. That's all should be included in any proactive service for that fixed fee. All that should just be taken care of. Reactive support is what you're used to now. You have a problem, you call, you want to get a help desk, you have a how-to question. How do I do a mail merge with 10,000 names in this letter? You know, those are the kinds of things. You want a resource that you can call and ask, how do I do this? Okay? You want a customer portal, one where you can enter a problem ticket instead of calling, or one where you can check on the status of your ticket if you called in or you put one in and they said that they had to wait for some additional information from you or whatever. You can actually see the status of that ticket, who's working on it, what's going on, and so forth. You can see all your previous tickets. So one of the things that we do is that we try to evaluate PCs, and we understand when a PC is coming to end of life because we see the number of tickets for that PC increase, right? So we can start to see that a hard drive's going bad, or something's going on, or the disk is filling up. Network administrator. This is an unusual For our company, some companies offer it, some don't, but we provide a dedicated person who understands your entire network and documents it, does all the best practice things, comes on site usually once a month to do the things that we can't do remotely, so that they can make sure that your system is operating the best that it can run. We can do about 90, 92% of the things we need to do. That extra 8 or 10% we have to actually go on site. This dedicated person would do that. You'd see the same person scheduled on a monthly basis to come out and to do those types of things. They update any of our documentation that we need. They're responsible for standardizing your environment. One of the things that we see when we go into some places is, oh, they'll buy a Dell this, and they'll buy an HP because it was on special here, and da-da-da-da. We try to standardize on one platform, whatever platform fits you, because we can image it. So that if you have a problem, you get a nasty virus, we can just force an image down, and boom, you're up and running again. There's no reason to sit there for 2 or 3 hours and try to eradicate a virus. So
When you force an image.
an image would be when we build the computer the first time, right? It has a particular image in it. It has this applications running, it has this programs, it has this operating system, and all that types of stuff like that. So once it's built, we actually make a copy of that, and we store that copy. We can either store it on the hard drive that's on that machine, or we can store it on your server. So if that particular machine has a problem, or if it gets a virus, or whatever, we can take that copy, wipe it, and put it right back onto that machine within minutes.
Does that mean you have to reload software, or does that?
No, it's done. It's complete. You're operational in 15 minutes.
Do you individualize that by PC? Because for example, like in our organization, we have 2 people who have QuickBooks, for example, the rest don't.
Yeah.
So do you do individual imaging, or?
It depends on the organization, because it's time consuming to make that image. But what we tend to do is do a base and then add the additional pieces that we need. So for the case like QuickBooks, QuickBooks is usually stored, your database and stuff is stored on your server, right? It's not on your PC, it shouldn't be. Right. So all we have to do is remotely install that software. So it might take an extra 10 minutes while we do that. But the base image of it, all the applications, the office you're running, your Outlook, all that stuff's all set up. That's all part of the base image. Any customized applications that only certain users can do, we would probably just install at that time. But you have to do that based on a platform that's similar. So that's the standardization part of making this happen. I mean, you just don't want to buy 5 different kinds of PCs. Okay? Eventually you want to get to a point, and it's usually not cost effective to do that all at once, but when you go to buy a PC from Dell or from whatever, first off, get the business class. They're not any more expensive, but they have better equipment in them. They're made for business. They're made for networking and things like that. They don't come loaded with all the consumer crap on them. So buy a business class PC. Second off is check the life cycle of that PC. Some life cycles are 90 days. Some are 18 months. Which one do you want to buy? The one that's an 18-month one, because if you buy another one 2 months from now, you'll still be able to get that same model. So you can start to do your standardization by buying into a line that has a longer life. Okay? The next one's on-site support. You're used to that. An engineer comes out, hopefully presentable, dressed appropriately, comes out, takes care of your issues, and does your on-site support. Usually it's hardware repair is our main issue. We guarantee 2-hour response. Some companies are 1 hour, some are next day. It really depends. So when you're shopping around for companies, just make sure you understand what their rule of thumb is for getting someone on site if there's a problem. And the VCIO, this is kind of what makes my company a little bit different, because I no longer do the technology. I was telling John earlier is that you can't be everything in today's world. So I enjoy the selling part of it and the customer relationship. So a VCIO is a virtual Chief Information Officer. And for my clients, that's what I am for them. I'm their trusted advisor. I have a meeting with them every quarter. We sit down, we go over tickets. We go over issues that they've had. We talk about their business. Are they growing? Are they declining? Are they reducing staff? Are they moving in the next 6 months? We talk about how their business is going, how their technology can help them improve their response to their clients, to their customers, to their employees. And we talk about the risk factors. What's inside of the box as far as risk? What's outside of the box? Okay, if it's outside of the box, how do we plan on addressing that over the next 3 to 6 months? We talk about a 1-year budget, and we talk about a 3-year budget. You'd be surprised how many people don't budget for IT. They pay for it when they need to. We're trying to get them to understand and make IT part of their process to improve their business, not to be an expense all the time and a negative. Any questions on that?
I do have a question. In terms of data security,
Okay.
if you have somebody off-site that has access to your information, that means that they have access to clients' information. And we store financial reports and tax returns, etc. So what does a managed service provider do to ensure that that data stays confidential and can't walk out with somebody in that organization?
Excellent point. We don't have access to your databases and application. You have a separate login and password for that, okay? We are more interested in the network and the hardware itself, so the logins for that, but we don't traditionally, we're not able to get into those applications from a security point of view. I don't really want that responsibility. I can take over your PC while you're sitting there and you can log me in and I can go and do that stuff if you have a question. But traditionally, if you have an application problem, you're calling your application vendor. You're not calling your managed service provider. You're calling your app company or you're calling someone else that runs that application for you. Okay. What we'll do is we'll work with that company to say, they'll say, no, it's a networking problem. We'll say, no. We'll get on the phone with them. And that's a whole process called vendor management. I don't know if we have it up there, but that's really what the network administrator, he does the vendor management. He works with your internet connection people, if it's Comcast or Verizon or whoever, P-Tech, whatever. You know, he works with your application vendors. He works with, you know, your copier company to make sure your copiers are online. You know, we have all that stuff. And you call us and say your copier's having a problem, we can contact that copier company and do that stuff. But,
Now, in terms of the data backup though, if that's off-site, you're backing up the databases.
we're backing up zeros and ones, and it's encrypted. And it's a 256-bit encryption, so we can't see it, no one else can see it anywhere else, and you have to have that key. You have the key on your system, and the key sits over there, so they talk to each other, but there's no way that we can get into that data.
Okay, very good, thank you.
But I'd say, just in answer to that question too, one common mistake is with small organizations is to think that you as a user, you're the only ones using that system, therefore don't worry about having passwords set on some software, or else you're using trivial or default passwords.
Right.
And that's something you should change, even if you're small. So
Well, that's one of the things we first do when we come in and do an assessment, is we'll do an assessment of password security level. So does it, where are you, and are you very low, low, medium, you know, high security, you know, and we'll help you define a password policy. Some of our clients force passwords every 90 days, some don't, some have had them for 10 years. But, you know, we make sure that they meet a certain standard that says, you know, you have to have a number, you have to have a letter, you have to have a capital, you have to have an exclamation point or some other symbol in that password. So, you know, so we're gonna help you do all that for security reasons.
Okay, thank you.
But like, if you're using QuickBooks, and I get into your PC, I don't have your QuickBooks ID, so I can't get into your financial data. That's
Right.
kind of an example of that. Any other questions? I'm sorry. So how can you become an educated consumer so that you can get rid of this fear? A couple ways you can do that. Understand what problems you're currently having. I walk into a lot of clients and they're all over the board. They really don't know what their problems are. So spend a half hour, an hour talking with your staff, whatever, and kind of list them down and document what your problems are so you know, so that when you have that meeting with that prospective MSP, you have it in front of you and you can even probably present it to them and say, here are our common problems. Okay. have a managed services provider, an MSP, come in and do a free audit. We offer free audits for companies. Most of the managed services providers will do that. Come in, they'll stick an agent on, it'll run for a day or two or three. They'll gather information. They're not gathering passwords or anything else. All the agent's doing is reporting on the machine, and it reports everything about that PC. I mean, it's like 20 pages of information about that machine. Every software piece that's running, every board that's on it, how many slots. So if I want to add memory, you call and say, I need to add memory to this machine. I can look that machine up and say, well, you have 4 slots, but you have 4, 5, 12 chips in there. So for me to add memory, I have to take 2 of the 5, 12 chips out to put 1 in. So we know that stuff before we buy it, go on site, try to put it in, and realize I got to throw memory away to add memory. So have them come in, take a look at this network security, the network health, and your backup procedures. You can read about IT and MSP service offerings just by Googling it and pulling it up. You'll understand a little bit more about it. I've kind of given you an overview of it, but if you have any more information about how it works and so forth, every MSP out there does the basic stuff, but everyone has a little different plan as to what they do. So you really want to kind of know what that person's offering is. So be a little educated when you actually talk to someone. I recommend that you talk to at least 5 different MSPs. You'll get 5 different options as far as plans go. Some will include on-site service, some won't. They'll charge you a discounted rate if they have to come on site. Some will give you 24/7, some will only give you 13/5, whatever. You just have to talk to different ones, figure out what fits your organization, and go from there. Where can you find this type of service? There's legitimate IT support companies out there. There's probably less legitimate ones than there are bad ones out there, unfortunately. One of the things that I am really a big push for is, I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's no licensing requirement to be an IT guy. The plumber that comes to your house has to have a license. The electrician has to have a license. You go to get your hair done, they have to have a license. You have the computer guy come in, he gets into your stuff, he surfs on porn, or he does stuff to your PC, or he steals your financial data when he's there. There's no license. There's no bonding. There's nothing. All you have to do is hang a shingle out. So be careful. Okay? There's popular search engines you can go out. Obviously, you know how to search for, but if you do like IT support Baltimore, you'll notice we come up number 2 or 3 or something like that. You can go, whatever your particular need is, just put in your geography and you'll get a whole list of companies that'll come up. I'll show you some ways that you can rank them in a minute. Ask some of your business contacts and friends who they use. Are they happy with them? And referrals is probably the biggest part of our business. We do marketing, we do that kind of stuff, but really referrals. Our customers are raving fans about us. And we're doing tomorrow you're doing a video testimony on another one with a big architectural firm in Annapolis that we replaced their IT person. They had 80 people in their firm. We came in at about half of what the IT guy cost. So they saved a tremendous amount of money. They're more happier now than they were when the guy was sitting there in his office. So ask your friends who they use. Are they happy? So how do we rate these companies? We can look at Google reviews, because people can write reviews about companies unsolicited. So I have a number of reviews out there that people have written about me. They just write them. Okay, so other companies have the same thing. Read them, see if there's any issues. Yesterday I went online to find out I have a jet ski and I have a problem with it, so I went out to look at companies that will fix my jet ski. I pulled up 2 companies that they had nothing but bad reviews. I'm certainly not going to, even though they're close by, I'm certainly not taking my jet ski to those people. So, use the tools that you have available. Look at online testimonials. On their website, do they have clients who are raving fans? Find out. Just really simple. Check certification. This is a big thing that really bothers me. I spend more money training my engineers than I probably do paying them, because the technology is changing constantly. And we service all different kinds of equipment. Firewalls, switches, routers, PCs, servers, and not just one brand. We have to do multiple brands. So we're constantly having to get certified. So look at the level of certification. The main certification you want to look for in companies your size is Microsoft. Microsoft has 3 levels. They have a certified. That means, hey, I want to sell Microsoft. Okay. 2, they have silver. I think it's silver. And silver is they have one guy who took 1 exam, maybe 2 exams, and they're now silver. And then you have gold. And we're a gold provider. We have to have at least 5 people certified. 2 of them have to be certified Microsoft. They used to be systems engineers, MCSEs. They're now called MCIPT, or TP, Microsoft Information Technology Professionals. That's a series of 5 exams, and a 6th and 7th if you want to have a certification and a specification like Outlook or Exchange or something like that, Internet Security or something like that. So if you're finding someone that's a gold certified, you know that that person is trained and has the staff to do that for you. There's nothing wrong with a silver, just make sure you get the guy that took the test and knows what he's doing, or somebody around him, okay? Don't get the junior engineer that doesn't know anything. So. Read success stories on their webpage and case studies. Find out what kind of clients they're servicing and what kind of work they're doing and what the people are saying. If you see somebody in a case study and they've been quoted and you want to know more about it, pick up the phone and call them. I mean, they're out on the web, you can call them. Don't call a company, go check them out before you have them come in. Review their client list. Do they have clients that are similar to you? Okay, we do a broad spectrum of clients, but we specialize in a few areas. We do sports teams. We did the Nationals when they moved to town. We did the Orioles. We've done work for other sports teams. That's one area that we know really well. So if there's another sports team that wants something, they're probably going to look for somebody who has experience with sports teams, especially Major League Baseball, because there's all kinds of requirements that have to go on top of what the Orioles do just for Major League Baseball. So review the client list. Make sure that they do nonprofits, because nonprofits are different than for-profit companies. They have different needs. They have budgeting requirements. They have all different types of stuff. So while the technology might be similar, the business is different, and it's helpful that they understand your business. So this is our webpage. I'm just using this as an example, but you'll see that, you know, I have a passion for this business, and so I stick it up right out front. I mean, there it is. I'm there. I'm the guy, you know, that does stuff. So you can contact me personally. I pick up the phone. I'm not some guy in the high tower waiting to do something. I answer the phone occasionally in our office, so I'm there. I just use my company as an example. I'm not trying to sell my company, please. Just use it as an example, but here's a Google search on IT support in Baltimore. The first 3 are paid advertisements. If you don't know that, they actually pay to have their name up there. I don't believe in paying for things on the internet like that. We come up number 2. We have, I don't know, you can't read it, 20 or so reviews out there. Click on them, go out, look at them, see what they are. There's another company right below us. They have like 25 reviews. That gives their address, and if they're near you and they have 25 good reviews, it may be a company you want to talk to. Let's delve a little deeper. This is the Google page on them. You can look at the reviews. You can actually see that we've posted videos. The second one is the Orioles, Jim Klein, who talks about our company. The third one is Intel guy. He's one of our vendors. So we put that out there so you can understand how our vendors relate to us. Vendors are key to what we do. A lot of companies in my business don't create that relationship. But if I have a unique situation or I have a problem and I need a vendor involved, I better already have that established relationship. I don't know why we have duplicates of her up there. There must be something behind that video. I think that video is like 7 minutes. It's got 10 people on it or something. But you can learn a lot about a company right here. You can get reviews. You can find out how long they've been in business, where they're located. You can find out, you know, all kinds of stuff. So do some research. Figure it out. It's not hard. You typed in a couple of words, and then you did a couple of mouse clicks, and that was it. Okay, so how can someone that's competent really benefit your company? Okay, we've talked about the proactive monitoring and how it prevents problems before they occur. You can have that peace of mind. You can go home, sleep at night. We have one of my own accountant, in fact, who I've had for the past 23 years that I've been in business. We do his work, and he at one time decided to go to another firm because his partner thought he was paying too much money. So they left us for about 2 or 3 years. They came crawling back, begging me to take them back because they couldn't sleep at night, their systems weren't working, they were worried about their data and everything else. And so obviously your consultant should be familiar with your network and therefore can solve problems much faster, which is really what you want. You want your business back up and running as quickly as possible. He understands your business and can sit down with you during that VCIO meeting and talk to you about how to use technology to improve your business, to save money, to service your clients. And hopefully they're building a foundation that you can build on. You don't have to just take that server you bought a year ago and replace it because you're adding 2 new applications. You should be able to expand that server you need to have to be able to grow your business. That's why an ongoing dialogue is so important, because technology is changing and your business is changing, making sure that your foundation is solid. He knows what software you're running. He knows the application. We know all the accounting, not all, but we know a majority of the accounting applications because we have a number of accounting firms. We know that when they're in season, they're getting daily updates on tax tables and other stuff like that. We are on top of that. We know what's going on. We have relationships with those application vendors. So make sure that whatever your business is and whatever application you're using, if it's unique, you find someone that's familiar with that application and that vendor. It's so crucial because if they're not, then they're going to not know how to respond to it, have issues, and it's going to take longer to resolve. He's your sounding board for new technology. He should bring to you, hey, here's an iPad. Here's what you can do with the iPad in your business. Here's what the new iPhone 5 can do for you. Here are the things. Don't go with a BlackBerry because the BlackBerry does this, this, and this. Consider going with the iPhone or Droid or HTC or something that has active sync with Exchange, because you don't have all the problems that a BlackBerry has with trying to integrate with a Microsoft Exchange. So those are the kinds of things that they should be bringing to you, and they become your trusted advisor. Benefits, obviously we talked about these. Eliminate your repairs because we're working on them. We're maintaining your equipment. It's sort of like maintaining your car. If you maintain it, you don't have those expensive repairs, hopefully down the road. A faster response, improved performance because we are tuning that machine once a week. We're getting in there and optimizing your desktops. We're making sure your servers have all the things that they need to do. All the patches are automatically done. And not just Microsoft patches, Adobe patches, Flash, all the other things, that the little pop-ups that come up that a lot of users ignore. They don't want to sit there and take the time to do it. They just ignore it. And they say, no, don't ever remind me again. They click on that. Okay? Top-level support without the cost of hiring someone yourself. You can do it for a fraction of the cost. Budget for IT support, it's an operating expense, not a capital expense. You can even take it to the point where I can deliver you the complete hardware that you need as an operating expense. I can break down managed services so I can give you all the PCs, the routers, the switches, the server, all for a monthly fee. And I can replace it in 3 years and give you all new again. So work with your MSP to understand what they can provide for you so that you don't have to worry about it. Safeguard your data. Obviously, this is important, as the BWCC has found out in the last week or so. And get that peace of mind. I keep saying that, but it's so important. Try to wrap up here because I know we're here. You found the perfect guy. He's going to take care of it. You need a contract, okay? Be careful what is in the contract. Understand the contract. make that person sit down with you for a half hour, an hour, and go through the contract. You'd be surprised how many people just sign my contract. I email it to them and they email it back. They don't even read it. Don't do that. You'll be sorry, okay? But it's amazing to me because I see it all the time.
And I'm sure it's better for you if they read it, because then they know.
Exactly. I want my customer to know what is included and what is not included. I try to make it easy because I tell them, look, I'm taking care of everything that you have here. Anything that you do new, I will give you a price for, or I'll let you know if it's covered or not. But the word is new. If you buy a new server, hey, guess what? You have to buy the server. I'm not giving it to you free. You know, I have to set it up, so I may have to charge you a minimal amount to set it up. But all that is spelled out in the contract, okay? Is on-site covered? What do you do with after-hours work? If I have to come in here on a Saturday, we have car dealerships. We do Passport Auto, and they have 7 car dealerships. They're opening a new one in Rockville in August, and they just bought another huge place down by the BMW down in Marlow Heights, and they're going to add a collision center. When do they work? Their busiest day is Saturday. Is my office open on Saturdays? No. So make sure you understand what is the support that you get when your business needs you, you know? So it's all in the contract. Make sure if it's not in there that it is in there, okay? But read the contract. Mine is a page on the front and on the back. That's it. It has an appendix that lists every device I cover with the serial number and everything. So I'm very, very, here's what is covered, here's what's not covered. Just know that.